Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. Today I'm running some T5 Abyss to get some ISK for a skill injector, specifically a large skill injector. There's a particular reason I want to get that. So I've actually recently bought a mission running ship, Abyssal, and that has basically been my most recent big purchase. But now I'm thinking of getting a large skill injector, and there's a particular reason for that, and it's because for you guys who do not know how skill point training works, like how you train skills, you have these things called attributes, and I think there's like 5 or 6 attributes, and you reconfigure these you can reconfigure them like max once a year or every half a year, depending on how many you have, like remaps, and depending on these attribute types, you train certain skills quicker. So certain skills, for example, will use, like for example, the attribute perception and willpower. And if you have very high perception and willpower that you put in a remap, which you get like once a year, or like you get a few extra ones each year, then you'll be training those skills faster. So right now I'm actually remapped to have certain skills very fast, and I think it is for perception and willpower, one of those, at least those kind of skills that involve a lot of like spaceship commands. So for example, Caldari cruiser, like, you know, weapon skills, like ones that, for example, for precursor weapons, those kind of attributes that are using those kind of skills, I have very good ones. However, the other kind of attributes that I've got very low, because I'm not training those kind of skills right now. An example of those attributes that are very low for me is charisma. I can show you actually here. Just bring up I was just imagining my drones here. If we go my character and attributes, yeah, so I've got very high perception and willpower, but low charisma, intelligence, and memory. So the skills that require charisma, intelligence, and memory are obviously going to train quite slow, and that's why I'm not training those skills as well, because like it will not be efficient for my omega time, because you know, you train your skills, like you've got 30 days of omega time, or like you've got a set amount of omega time, and you want to use it as efficiently as possible to train as much skills as possible. So then it's favorable to always train the things that you have high attributes in. So there's a skill that I particularly want that has attributes that I'm really bad at, so it uses a lot of charisma, and that is actually Security Connections 5. And Security Connections 5 basically makes it so that you get more LP for security missions, and it makes each level gives 10% more loyalty points. I can see, bring it up right here. If I go in skills and we go to Security Connections here, 10% more LP. So this makes it so that I get straight up 10% more loyalty point pay if I train that to level 5. Right now it's at level 4, and I think that is a really good thing, because, like, you know, you can always optimize your mission running ship to be able to, you know, run missions faster, to squeeze out a little bit of extra DPS, complete the missions just slightly faster, and that can obviously bonus to your ISK per hour. But majority of the ISK you get from missions are in loyalty points, so that 10% increase is almost like a 10% straight up increase to the amount of ISK per hour I get. So that's why it's really good if you want to do a lot of missions, and I actually like to do a lot of missions, because right now I've got quite a busy time. I do a lot of hospital work right now in the hospital. I'm a medical student doing like doctors kind of stuff right now. There's a lot of like responsibilities and like new things I have to really learn, and a lot of these like antibiotics and all these different pharmaceuticals that we have to know. It's taking care of patients, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that's on my mind. So doing Abyss is good, but like it can be sometimes quite taxing, even though I'm really good at the Abyss, or I would at least say that I'm pretty good at the Abyss. It still is a lot more things to think about. You know, you have to think about the potential for gankers. You have to think about small mistakes that can cost you a lot, like this whole ship right here, including implants, is 3 bill. A lot is actually in the impod though, because that just makes it so that if I do get ganked, it's not such a big deal. But I prefer to just do like L4 missions, because there's a lot less risk that I get ganked, and it's a lot more chill. It's a lot more chill than Abyss running. Also, the good thing about L4 missions is I can just pause whenever I want to. I can't pause Abyss running. Like if I right now had to pause, I would lose my ship. Now that means 3 build down the drain. Now that's not fun. Obviously, the T5 Abyss, like I'm running now, is giving a lot more ISK. I can get over 250 mil an hour doing this, and it's really good pay, amazing pay, way much better than I can get from L4 missions. But it's still a decent amount you can get from L4 missions, and in my opinion, that extra relaxation element of L4 missions is actually quite worth it. So to get this security connections to level 5, I obviously I don't put it to the front of my skill queue. What I do is I save up unallocated skill points and I allocate them to that skill I have the low attributes in. So for the the security connections, I have it uses a lot of charisma. I've got low charisma, so what I'll do is it's efficient to just put in like free skill points. You get like you get all these login rewards and those kind of things. What I do is I just put those kind of skill points that I get for free into these kind of skills that I have bad attributes for. So for example, the security connections 5, because the skill points don't care about your attributes, they just care about how much skill points you gain. The attributes, they determine how many skill points you get per like unit time of training, so like how much I get every day of just passively training. But skill points, they don't care at all. It's just skill points is you train this much skill points, you need this much skill points for a skill, and it trains. So if we go into security connections 5, I need about 300,000 more skill points. So I just put my skill points to those skills. That's also why, if I just grab this loot right here and go to the buy adaptive cache, assign my drones to this guy over here, that if I go into my skill queue, you can actually see that I've got all these kind of like perception and willpower based skills that I was talking about. So you can see here we've got precursor cruiser, Caldari industrial, all these things use a lot of perception and willpower. You can see here attributes, perception and willpower, because it's efficient for me to train these, because I get a lot of I train these skills very fast, and in essence I'll be getting a lot of more skill points per day than training like security connections 5. So at the back of the skill queue, if I go down a bit here, I have these kind of things like social, security connections, mining, format. These all have attributes that I'm not so good. So we've got willpower and charisma here. So the primary attribute is charisma, and that is obviously going to train a lot slower per like skill point over time. So what I'll do is then when I get if I use this, if I want to, then see here I've got 5,000 allocated skill points that I have from like some login events. So what I'll do is if I get skill points, I just put it at the front. What I'll do is I'll then just place them and confirm it here, and then I'll place the skill points in, and then what I'll do is I'll just take the skill and then put it back at the queue so that I keep training the ones that I have good attributes for. Okay, now I grab the loot from here. Not so good loot actually, only 46 mil. Like usually I'll be getting a bit more. On average I'll say 70, 80 mil, maybe even more if I'm lucky, but only 40 mil and I've done the first 2 rooms. It's pretty bad actually. I would have hoped for a bit more right there. Okay, let's go to the last and final room. Let's see here. I've not got any of these Edencom rooms, and I've been actually wanting to face the Edencom guys a lot because they apparently are really strong. Okay, there's a lot of starving Damavix here. I mean, my ship is pretty like newt resistant, but if there's a ton of neuting ships, then you just want to take them out quickly, just in case, you don't want to unnecessarily get neuted. And especially since Damavix, they're very fast, they're always going to be on top of your head, so you want to take them out. If it's something important, like if you're trying to kite with an MWD, then you want to take out the anchoring Damavix pretty quickly, because they will inevitably scramble you, because they're really fast. They have like over 3k a second speed, so it's very difficult to outrun these guys. So we're just going to be taking out starvings and anchorings, because I mean, I don't really need to kite these guys, but I prefer to not be slowed like I'm doing now. I'm going really slow, because you can see when my MWD is turned off. Also, we've got tangling as well. It just really never ends. Never ends. Take away these striking. Actually, there's no point. You always want to kill the striking guys last, because as far as I understand, every Triglavian ship does the same amount of damage. But the thing is, they can sometimes come with E-Wars, like a newts, as the starving ones have, or tanglings. They have a Webifier, and you want to take them out first, then leave the striking to last, because they just deal damage, and that's all they do. I don't think they do any particularly more damage than normal people. I can see here a lot of them have stopped targeting me, and that means that they're attacking my drones. So I want to just kill this one right here, and then I'll recall my drones to make them switch to me again, because I don't want to take too much drone damage. I already had quite a bit of drone damage because of how I forgot to repair my drones from the last time I ran them. That sometimes happens. I have to it's like a habit of mine to repair them, but sometimes I can forget, and It's a bit annoying when you come in with drones with just half HP. It's like, oh my god, you know, I have to manage my drones a lot more, otherwise I can potentially lose them. I mean, it's not uncommon that I lose drones. It's actually quite a common occurrence. It's not that big deal. The Tech 2 infiltrators are very cheap. I think it only costs 1 or 2 mil, and when you're earning 250 mil an hour, that really is just like chunk change. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. But it's still an inconvenience, you know. You don't want to just run out of drones, and if your worst case, like I usually keep in most stations, or at least where I run Abyss sites, I usually keep like a big supply of drones, so I don't need to buy them. But it can take a bit of time to actually like have to go in and manually just buy them when they replace them. That's pretty annoying. So that comes for a lot of things actually. Like for example, if you do incursions, you do invasions, and it's in a particular system, you would want to like just buy a whole bunch of stockpile of ammo and drones, stuff that can end, and just keep it there so you don't have to buy stuff all the time. Alright, so I'm at 539 mil now, so I will have to have about 710 or 700, just over 700 mil just to get that large skill injector. This large skill injector gives 300k skill points. With my skill points right now, I've got 68 mil. And if we go on security connections, then okay, just grab this. Security connections, I need 300, a little bit less than 300,000 skill points, so that's perfect. One large skill injector will be enough to cover that skill, and we'll even have a little bit extra that I could use on something else. So I think that's very fitting to buy the large skill injector, because it's just that skill points will. Oh my god, my drones! What the hell happened to my infiltrator? No! Get back here! Get back here! Look at that one right there! Oh my! This guy was toast. He almost died right there. Okay, let's go for this buy adapt. Now I can finally activate our MWD and not go at a snail's pace. Oh, I'm not Gila, I'm so slow. No, I can't move. Now you can now. Now you can go. You know, it's the complete opposite sometimes when you find these tachyon clouds. Those are kind of like brownish, whitish clouds they make so that you go really fast. With the Gila and the MWD, I go like 4-5k a second. Crazy speeds. I sometimes will be flung out into the abyssal depths. It's been pretty scary. Luckily, since my ship is very tanky, I think the way the abyssal depths work is that the further you go away from it, the more damage they do. So luckily my ship is pretty tanky, so it doesn't really matter even if I get flung out quite far. But it's still, just remember that you don't want to fly out too much in the abyssal depths. First, it's not much damage it does, but then it'll do a lot of damage. This happened with, I think it was like a Nurgle or some frigate test I did that made it so that I just took a tachyon. Yeah, stay here, exactly here. This cloud over here, this like kind of beige whitish one. I took one, and then I just flew out into the boundary of the unstable abyssal depths, and I almost instantly died because I took the ship was already using an MWD, I think. So that already you're going really fast, like 2+ k a second, and then you go with tachyon cloud. I was going like 7k a second, so it just flew out, instantly died, just because there was no time to react whatsoever. It just instantly died to the abyssal depths. That's something you want to really be careful about. You know, if you could lose this ship right here, it's going to be like a lot, hundreds of millions down the drain. They're like, what the heck? I'm trying to buy a skill injector that costs 700 mil. Just may as well just throw that away for your ship. That's one of the bad things with abyssal running. You have to put a lot of stuff on the line. Spark needles. It's a bit annoying that spark needles were there because they do more DPS, but honestly, there wasn't that many because, you know, you got low EM resistance in the the electrical clouds, but it's no big deal. Those Triglavians, the drones are those Triglavians slaves right there. Alright, that's it for this T5 run. I'm planning on buying a large skill injector soon. We got, how much did we get? 68 mil. If I click on the abyssal loot, I get 63 mil, so it's okay, about 63 mil probably. And then did this in about like just under 15 minutes. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.